Sounds like an interesting topic.
Okay, so I guess I'd wait until.
I think our AV guy is ready to go.
Thumbs up.
All right, so my name is Ben West. I have been working with things related to DevOps sporadically for the past 3 years or so. Coming in today to talk about recent opportunity I had to work with Chef Development Kit. So I guess the initial question I would ask is, everyone here familiar enough with doing automation through Chef that just, general stuff, general things about like, cookbooks, data bags, environments, like, is there, do they have like enough familiarity with that just so that if I mention that, it's not going to be won't be too far in the weeds?
I know that it really annoyed me last time I played with it.
It's really good at doing that. I can confirm that. But normally, so the conventional approach for using automation with Chef is that there's 3 components. There's the target machine that is basically the recipient of the automation. Then there'd be a Chef server that stores, for example, copies of the cookbooks that you're deploying, secret access keys, configuration data, and then there would be your your actual workstation. There's a way of doing it without requiring the intermediary Chef server, which can be convenient because Chef servers usually either require that you buy service from Opscode for a hosted Chef server, or that you maintain a Chef server yourself somewhere in the cloud. Since Chef servers generally are happiest when they are accessible at like a at a normal domain name. A way to get around that and not have to rely on a third-party Chef server floating around somewhere in the cloud, which is good if you don't have to deploy a bunch of server assets for like your employer or a company, or maybe it's like 2 or 3 machines in a cloud, or even 2 or 3 actual physical machines, bare metal machines you have access to. Not having to bother with the Chef server simplifies a lot greatly. Before, the way to do that was to use a mode of Chef's agent called Chef Solo, which would give you a somewhat simplified setup, a somewhat simplified set of Chef-style operations, but would forego the ability to do things like query the list of all of the actively provisioned nodes. If you want to, for example, figure out which node is considered the database server, or some other information you could get from having a database of all actively provisioned nodes. I believe it was last year, Opscode released what they call Chef Development Kit, which is very nice. It is it basically takes the when people were. Oops, I probably should connect your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I don't just network.
And I see
Your master password over YouTube.
Okay. Sorry, I should have asked before the video started. I see you got downstairs first. Oh, yes, there we go.
Benimbile. B-E-N-I-M-B-L-A.
Lowercase forward.
This is when I find out that for some reason the Wi-Fi network is one of those ones that my laptop just doesn't connect to.
You need a 2.4.
No, like my stairs in my screen.
Go internet, go!
Here we go. All right. So there we go. So more or less what I was saying, Chef Development Kit. So the nice thing about that is that you can see that it is cross-platform, but it is an installable, and they now put it in the package flavors, common to everyone, including Windows, basically. But it gives you, it will give you the the actual Chef agents. It will give you the full Ruby stack. It will also give you a cookbook managing tool called Bookshelf. And basically kind of gives you reasonably self-contained functional environment for a Chef workstation, which is very, very nice because one of the hair-pulling aspects of Chef that maybe perhaps you'd encounter is when you need to install Chef from scratch. That it's always a matter of like you download a particular version of the agents, and then it wants to fight with the version of Ruby that your laptop already happens to have installed, or you get the version of Ruby to work, but it turns out a particular Ruby gem that the Chef agent wants to pull in doesn't work because it's broken, and
I kept opening new browser tabs
yes.
to go to some other thing I had to download
Mhm.
or understand before it would actually work.
So yes, no, and literally, this problem is kind of endemic to a lot of Ruby development just in the first place, because Ruby itself is like this very decentralized, squishy, nebulous world that no one really wants to. Everyone is really determined to have competing standards, but at least with Chef Development Kit, ops code just goes to the trouble of wrapping it all into a working environment, and it is for Linux, it very simply is download a deb and install it, and that works. So if you go back to
Are we in Ubuntu on your computer?
this is close, it's Mint, but it they'll have it for all the Linuxes, and I've never actually used Chef under Windows, but I've seen enough mentions from people using it that they seem to make enough progress actually getting Chef to run under Windows that I guess it happens. This is basically Ubuntu that I'm on right now. I mean, it will be largely equivalent for OS 10. And so this repo is actually started as a repo that the Chef Development Kit creates for you, since the starting point with the Chef workstation is that you just create the repo, which you can then check into GitHub or any other version control tool you want to use. And this is basically derived from an actual production, quasi-production instance of Chef TK that I put together for someone I was working for earlier. But to go to the nice stuff, it says, yes, install Chef TK. Because this was put together quickly, I just simply went through sequential steps to get it to a functioning state. Because Chef installs everything under /opt, or at least under this platform, you can. I could probably also do this. This may help a little bit. There you go. You can update your path variable so that it is, so to make sure it's pulling Ruby and Gem and some other tools directly from the version that Chef TK installs. You don't have to do it this way. There's other ways of kind of making the entire Ruby stack self-contained. I think you can use Bundler. This was just what happened to work for me, and it didn't clobber things in the laptop that I cared about at the time. So this is a repo that's on GitHub right now. I'm GitHub/West by West. So you will find this repo if you want to play around with it. Then I go through the steps. Simply you can clone the repo locally to give you kind of like an initial piece to start working with. Then going on, what you want to start out with Chef is that it has this little configuration file. It's basically pretty good to go. The only difference is that I guess there are still some rough edges around Chef Development Kit, so it has difficulty resolving relative path names to other points in the repo. So you may, so like I have it in the README I put together, but like you may want to tweak that based on where where in your home directory this happens to sit. Moving on, you clone the repo. Then once you're in the working directory for the repo, you can run the bundler tool to install some dependent gems. So what this will do is this will use the bundler tool that's already wrapped up inside the Chef Development Kit. So it's already going to be invoking the version of Ruby that Opsco has decided is the most compatible for Chef. So you don't have to worry about running bundle install and getting half a dozen gem dependency errors.
Based on your path definition, you set that up.
Yeah, because in this instance I just simply set the path for the running session. There are better, more elegant ways of doing it. I was just trying to work through steps to go from 0 to properly working. Then the other cool part now is, so this installs a couple dependent gems. The one in particular is the one that you use for, it's called Chef Provisioning, is now a tool you can use to basically provision and bootstrap machines using Knife. And that bundle install happens because what I've included in the workstation is just saying these are the gems that I collected in the process of putting this together. The other one is Shelf is a library management tool that is happily integrated already into the Chef stack here, and you can use that to analogous to how you specify gems that you want to bundle. You can use Burst file to basically specify third-party cookbooks that you're integrating. So this basically takes ops code version of these particular cookbooks that I've just enumerated them because they were ones that I was using previously. Then you have, then it uses this Burks vendor, sort of weird name for it, but Burks vendor will quote vendor in these third-party cookbooks that are basically downloaded from opscode.com, or I think there's a couple other sites where these community cookbooks are put. But it will take all of these third-party cookbooks that your custom cookbooks can then depend on. So, just kind of going through here, vendor cookbooks. This part is very hand-wavy. The difficulty of, difficulty of any sort of DevOps provisioning is that the actual details of where your machines sit or where your virtual machine sits is going to be unique to your situation. So I can't really go into detail about how your machines are provisioned or how they're bootstrapped, just simply say that they need to be. The Chef provisioning, gem that I mentioned, that's the one that's been incorporated in this, is very handy. It's one that I use, but it will, let's see, so we got Vagrant, AWS, DigitalOcean, there's a Zen server one out there. I think there are a couple other beta E drivers for this Chef provisioning gem that you can then use within Chef Development Kit, so that you basically can provision machines in like many different environments. I mean, you can do this with standing Chef without the Chef server too, which is this. It starts to integrate nicely into sort of a self-contained deployment workstation. I guess other details. Generally with Chef, like depending on where your machines live and how you create them, usually it's handy to sort of bake in certain aspects of the machine's configuration into, like, be it the virtual machine image or or the AMI, or wherever you're deploying this. But it's handy to bake in, like, initial packages you want your deployed machine to have. What I have included here is actually a Kickstarter file that it's been anonymous a bit, but just sort of shows in the CentOS machines that I was standing up for this, just sort of shows, like this, putting in a handful of packages, was doing a little bit of tweaks to the machine so that I know that, like, SSH and sudo and those things are working fine before Chef starts provisioning. You just know that's already baked into the machine as soon as it's stood up. Where are we now? So like I said, a bit hand wavy. The clone repo that you have will need to have the PEM file for the machines you deploy, since what Chef will assume the machine is reachable from your desktop, and it will have to connect with a PEM file that you provided, which is typical for Chef. I'm just mentioning it here because if you are using something like this and you are maintaining in your own repo, to make sure that PEM file doesn't accidentally get slipped up in GitHub. And also, in this particular example, in addition to the private key and the PEM file, there's also a public key that we are telling Chef about, because we also have Chef controlling users being added to the machines and the login keys. So Chef will need to know about the Chef user so that it doesn't overwrite it or doesn't like out the key. And then basically once you have it, then it's literally Chef client is the name of the executable, -Z for Chef 0, and then a sort of machine definition file, which I'll get to in a bit. Didn't mention it before, but so the whole thing that allows this to happen without the intermediary third-party chef server is that in this instance there is a chef server, but it's using this mode called Chef 0, where it launches an ephemeral chef server on your local machine, basically using the cookbooks and data bags and everything that's right there in your repo. And what's really cool is that the ephemeral server just launches up in like 5 seconds or so on your machine. When it opens the SSH dump to the remote machine you're provisioning, it tunnels the ports to connect to that chef server to the remote machine. So the remote machine is then basically being told your chef server is available at localhost port blah blah blah, and then it connects back to the ephemeral chef server running on your machine, and then the ephemeral chef server just goes away as soon as the chef client stops. And that's actually really cool. That works much nicer than the previous way of doing this called Chef Solo, and it sort of leverages a lot of the benefits of actually having a chef server, albeit not a permanent one.
Well, it's a little more transitionable once you get an actual chef server.
Yes, well with the chef server, it's not a GitHub repo that has all of your design information. It's the chef server. You're not depending on something like GitHub or take your desktop you're working from. But this for like putting up say half dozen machines in some portable way without having to depend on the chef server, like just relying on the ephemeral Chef 0 server is quite nice. And to go on to, so there's more documents. Readme is basically just the ops codes one that I included too. So they have a machine definition file. It is what's called Ruby DSL for Ruby domain specific language. And so I have a machine which I call front end. And it's interesting things about it. So you specify a host name. This host would be where it is, how would this machine be reachable? So it does not have to be a public host name. It's just basically, if you want to type SSH host name, however that resolves, it can be a local host name, it can be proxied through a gateway. It's just whatever host name the chef agent needs to connect to it. The username, let's see, you point it to the PEM file, so the chef has a login key. You specify an environment, which I'll show in a bit. Then you specify a role. So this is typical for chef. I'm trying to think of other interesting things. And again, the environment is just taken as an example from work I was doing recently. So with Chef, you can deploy machines under any number of environments you specify. So I call this environment production for the sake of being bland, and it just sort of shows various attributes that were relevant to what I was deploying previously. Like this involves JDK, it installs Postgre, and Tomcat. So just kind of threw these in here as demonstration of the the specific operational details for machines you're standing up. And of course, you can have multiple environments. You can have production, development, staging, next Tuesday, whatever you want to call it. We've looked at the machine definitions. We've looked at the environments. Just one detail about, for some reason with Chef 0, all the roles have to be specified in JSON instead of doing them in Ruby. It may just be Chef 0 thing. Way that I work around that is, or a convention I use for chef development is that I try to keep the roles as minimal as possible, and basically just all the role will do is it will call a cookbook recipe by the same name, and then have all of the, just go in here. Like I put in a demo cookbook that just stands up, will stand up the machine with Apache, but I try to have like as many details as possible in the recipes themselves rather than in the roles, because the recipes can be versioned, where the roles cannot. So this convention is using, they call them role cookbooks. And so this is just a simple demo. So this called web server, it will install Apache, it'll set up a default vhost, it opens the firewall for port 8. And amazingly, data bags will work. So a data bag is another chef convention for, in this instance, it is users that I want to add to the machine. So instead of like in an actual recipe file that says username blah 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 user SSH key, you have a a data bag per user. So this adds a username Fred. The other gotcha that I mentioned earlier is that you do have to, if you're using the user's cookbook, you do have to specify the actual chef user, whatever user the chef agent on the remote machine is